Ranger Kidwell-Ross, editor at WorldSweeper.com and the director of the World Sweeping Association. Today, we'll be speaking with Steve Varnell. Steve is the Senior Supervisor for street sweeping for the city of Fort Collins, Colorado. Fort Collins was a test city for Rubicon, a company that has leading edge software solutions for helping sweeping, recycling, garbage pickup, and more in cities to do their best to leverage those different occupations to where they provide better value for their citizens. And since the city of Fort Collins was a test subject, as we reported at APWA 2019, we're going to see where they are now a year downstream. So with that, I welcome Steve Varnell. He is, as I say, the Senior Supervisor for Fort Collins Street Sweeping. And from there, I'll just say, take it away, Steve.
Like you said, Ranger, I've been working for the city of Fort Collins for a little over 20 years. I got the opportunity to oversee the sweeping group maybe 5 years ago. And within that time, I just kind of noticed we weren't really being really efficient enough to sweep the neighborhoods due to the parked cars and low hanging trees and just, and believe it or not, and basketball hoops, portable basketball hoops. So the last couple of years, I was trying to get all the info that I could to try to combat what my operators would be running up against. And maybe late 2018, that's when I reached out to Rubicon and asked if they would be okay with try to do a little pilot program. And since I kind of sourced the internet, couldn't find a program to my likings. And so I went ahead, called Rubicon, reached out to them. They agreed. We kind of met in 2018, got the verbiage down of what we wanted to capture and all that. And in 2019, we did our pilot program. And that was a program that we kind of wanted to do our low picking fruit, wanted to go ahead and try to capture all the parked cars in all the sweeping zones that we have, and we have 20. And of course, all the other objects that are in the way. And so they outfitted some cameras onto each of our sweepers. And I say the pilot stage 1 program, it was many times we had to meet and just work out the kinks. But then we got that data, kind of reviewed that data. That turned out to be really good. And then we started kind of like a continuous improvement. And then we kind of would meet every week and see what we wanted to capture and what we could capture and what we wanted to use that info for. And as of right now, I know we're capturing the data. We are working right now and actually our pilot program is done. We are now working with them and they are working with us as a partnership. And now what we are doing is we are gathering all the data and we are, what's the word I'm looking for? Efficiency. We are trying to become 100% efficient out when we're out sweeping. So hopefully that kind of gives you a kind of runabout, what's the word I'm looking for? Program that I'm looking for.
Okay. And so when the sweeper, talk about the mechanics of that, if you would. When the sweeper's going, you got the cameras. What happens when it sees overhanging branches, or I don't know what else you're looking for, if you're looking for potholes, if you're looking for you know, the basketball hoops. I'm not sure what you do about that. They're too big to fit in the hopper. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, what we do, Ranger, is the first stage is we try to identify uh, what are we seeing, what are my operators are seeing out there, and we'll gather that data. I'll gather that data, bring it back, review it, and kind of see, you know, if there is a zone that's a really high problem. And I don't know if you might not know this, but this is a college town, Colorado State University. So around our downtown area, we'll have streets probably within 4 or 5 zones that are highly utilized, either from college parking or homeowner parking. And there's some streets out there, zones that, you know, we might not be able to sweep uh, uh, for a few times due to cars. So then I'll gather that data, bring it back, and then kind of just review it. And right now I'm in the review stage, and there is other programs that Rubicon has that we could, you know, I know you mentioned that, you know, we would, you know, would kind of like to gather the vehicle's data. And what we want to do, we don't charge, charge for violators of parking right now. So we kind of want to, I would like to see us sending out a text message or an email saying, you know, stating that their vehicle was in the way. You know, maybe next time, you know, there might be some kind of, I don't want to say punishment because it's not punishment, but just some kind of, you know,
Penalty, let's say.
yes. But of course, that has to go through city manager, my director, city manager, and city council. But I would just kind of like to get out and use social media a lot more with this technology.
Mm-hmm. So when you view overhead, let's say overhanging branch someplace where either the sweeper can't go or you want to deal with it, are you able to grab the GPS coordinates for that and you know, do something with that, get somebody out there to trim it and so forth? How does that
Yes.
work?
Yep. So, and I'm gonna minimize my screen to look back to. I have. It is Rubicon has us set up with a tracker website and interface. And what I can do is in our filters, I could go back to a certain date and time, and I could see their route geocoded and breadcrumbed. And when they get off of that curb, it shoots out a red breadcrumb. So I can go in there and kind of look to see what happened if it was over a low hanging branch, tree branch or vehicle. And if I notice it is a low hanging branch, and if it's a city tree, I can locate, or I could call and our forestry department and kind of and give them that data, and they can take care of that problem for us.
Okay. And does Rubicon offer any way to do that in real time? I mean, could the driver theoretically, with some module they provide, do a marker at that spot and alert, you know, you or another city department or anything like that? Or does that have to all be done after the fact?
No, they could. That was one of the studies that we were going to look into, and they said they did. Rubicon did say they had the option to, you know, to give us that data. And like right now, this is still kind of brand new technology, so we're kind of picking that low hanging fruit and trying to, just like I said earlier, just, you know, a continuous improvement. And but they did say they did have that technology.
Okay. So where do you see this expanding to, or how do you? I mean, the problem of vehicles not getting moved is so huge with stormwater pollution, and if we're trying to abate that, at the end of last year, we've cited a study that was really is a game changer for the sweeping industry. In Florida, 14 municipalities over a number of years tracked all their sweeper debris, as well as debris and picked up from a variety of other solutions for stormwater, like catch basins and grassy swales, or all the other technologies that they had, and came up with a number of pounds of material that would be in pollution in street sweepings, pollution in catch basin cleaning, and so forth. So they're determined that it was almost 7 times more cost effective to pick up pollution with sweepers than it was with the next best product, which was involved catch basins. So, and that was over phosphorus and nitrogen. So as a result of that, we really, that I think really spurs the need for vehicle removal. And yet I know that there's a lot of resistance to that, especially in a college town, to do that. So, how do we, do you have, what are your thoughts on how to weigh those two things? Are there technologies that you'd like to see, or how could this Rubicon partnership allay that, do you think?
Yeah, well, and I'll go one step further. What we're doing now too is we reached out to another company, and we've fitted all of our sweepers with scales in our hoppers. So, and that technology can interface with our Rubicon technology. And what I'm at right now in this phase is gathering all the data. And my plan is to gather all the hard data and then just kind of push that up to my director and to the city manager. And we are a very green city, which we take pride in being green. And one how can I say it? One of the greenest ways to make our city green is, like you said, sweeping the curbs, and that way we can have our streams and our catch basins clean, and our streams clean of the debris and even the heavy metals that the cars give off, the vehicles give off. And so what I imagine, what I picture is within a year or 2 years, gathering all the data, and then myself taking that up to my city manager and city council, and then maybe at that point, looking at the best ways to, combat the parked cars in our zones of when we sweep. And if that has to do with, a $50 ticket the first time and then double the second time, or I'm not at that stage yet, but that's just, just speaking out loud. I can tell you right now, City of Fort Collins, we believe in sign pollution. So we don't want to post tons of no parking signs permanently in areas. We want the neighborhoods to be, the less signage, the better. So that's what got me to thinking, if I could somehow kind of reach the college students and the residents and the renters in these neighborhoods within hours before we can sweep digitally, socially, and with social media. And I think we could get a better response that route.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sure seems like it. And one of the things that I'd recommend, having followed this, very closely, is to figure out the pollutants that you feel are coming off the cars that are, fouling the water. What's at the end of the pipe, kind of thing, and then test your sweepings for that. So if you take some random sweepings, from some of your different routes, and have those tested for those pollutants, then you can figure out how many pounds of that pollutant per sweeper load, average sweeper load, or how many pounds of sweeper waste. And that could really spur, I think you can talk about, you know, a glass full of pollution, but if you have the glass in front of you and pass it around, it's a whole different thing. That picture telling 1,000 words, and that kind of data is really valuable when it comes to going to city councils and so forth, where they can realize how many pounds of pollutants you're able to pick up. And you might also consider, it would be easy to have some kind of numeric pad or some system that Rubicon may be able to work with you on, where you can have the operators, let's say at the end of each block, click how many parking spaces they feel they missed in that block. Then, because you have to go around a parked vehicle. So you miss a space behind the vehicle, you miss a space in front of the vehicle if there's just one car per block. So, and it's usually, you know, there's more than that. So
Yes.
if you knew how many pounds of pollutant or how much pollutant was in each pound of sweepings, let's say, and you knew how many pounds you're picking up, and you knew how many parking spaces you were missing as you're sweeping, now you could calculate how many more pounds of pollutant you could pick up if the vehicles weren't there. And that's the kind of thing that gives political will out there to remove the vehicles. And in a place like Fort Collins that is so green tending anyway, when you tout that on social media and through your website, and you know, really educate your population about that, they're going to be much more likely to want to move their cars too.
Yes. And Ranger, what Rubicon, and I mean, hopefully they'll talk more about this, but they have that technology. I don't know what the wording of that technology has, but when our sweepers are on the curb line sweeping, and when they have sensors, they have a camera in the windshield, and they have a sensor on that sweeper. So when they have to turn away from a car, it activates that camera and it takes a snapshot of each car that they have to drive by to get out of the way of. And in their program, in the Rubicon's website, web-based software program, it's called Insight, and it tallies each vehicle that they have to drive by and which, you know, we miss. And I'll go a little further. Right now, we are in the preliminary stage of efficiency of that block, of that zone. So right now, if it takes us 2 days to finish the zone, I could go back and see actually how many cars were in the way and how efficient we were sweeping that. So I kind of like your idea too about gathering all the pollutants, the poundage, getting it tested, and you know, putting some good hard data in each zone.
Yeah, that's great. And so if you're taking pictures of those cars anyway, then I think the next step is license plate recognition, where the tickets are you know, distributed
Yes.
as a result. And one of the things to think about there too, if you are doing that, and now I'm talking to the city managers that are watching this, that do have a vehicle removal program now that is enforced by their parking enforcement people, then you can eliminate that labor of the parking enforcement by going to cameras that take the pictures, and then a system that would pretty much electronically distribute the tickets. And that's a savings. And then I know one of the savings that you're doing now is that a lot of cities have to have people in a pickup truck going around and looking for those basketball hoops or whatever, you know, that's out there, potholes and, you know, so forth, whatever that should be known by city managers. And so there's savings there too for labor, as well as if it is things like road condition or you know, signage down or whatever. The sooner you can solve those problems, and of course the less expensive it is to solve them. So there are a lot of economies of scale, I think, that doing this kind of technology on a vehicle that's going on the route, however
Mhm.
often, every 2 weeks, every week, every month. They're really, it's hard to believe that whatever you're paying Rubicon can't come back to you, several fold in the long run.
Yep. And one thing too, what got me thinking about this, another um, how can I say it? I don't want to say a problem, but it was issues that in the years before I contacted Rubicon, I would get maybe a couple of calls a week on our residents stating they wish they knew within a couple of hours when they can move their car when our sweepers are going to be in their neighborhood. And right now we have a pretty good system. We send an email out weekly, letting our residents know when we're going to be in their zones, in their neighborhoods, and we go to Nextdoor social media and let them know also. However, what I would kind of like to do, kind of, just reach out to I know everyone's not on social media, but if you could actually, like in the beginning stages when we, like you said, license recognition, can't even talk. When we could take a shot of their license and license plates and kind of send them, not really a ticket, but kind of send them a warning the first
Right.
time, and kind of on the bottom, let them know, hey, if you want to go to our website to sign up to get notified within hours before we come sweep your zone next, it's free. I think we'll have a good outcome with that. And I think we could actually start sweeping streets and be 100% efficient.
I agree with that. And it is a process, it's not an overnight kind of thing. And everybody isn't on social media, but boy, lots of, high percentage is. And if you had a system together where they were going to keep from getting, let's say, $50 tickets, hypothetically, there's an incentive built in there somewhere
Exactly.
to keep that, to put a program like that in place. So
Yep.
yeah, very good. What else should we know about this, or plans for the future, or anything else about your program?
Yeah, I mean, when we first met on the pilot program, in the first few months, we were kind of just giving out ideas to each other. And there's some other stuff in the woods that we're kind of going to start be working on, but I really don't want to share that yet because, I guess I can just leave that where maybe next year we can come back and meet again, and then we can talk about those.
All right, I look forward to that. That sounds like progress.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one thing I could say is Rubicon and City of Fort Collins were always thinking continuous improvement, and we work for the residents here, and we want to give the residents what they pay for, and when my employees, when my sweeper operators, when they sweep a block only a quarter of the way, and they can't get and sweep the rest of the rest of the block, they even tell me that, what can we do to actually make us more efficient? And I think this is one great tool that's going to help us.
Yeah, I'd sure agree with that. And part of that is that when that happens, it's usually the same cars the next
Exactly.
time, and so that part of the block doesn't ever get swept. So there's some
Yep.
health and safety things, especially in these days of the pandemic. This is November 2020 when we're doing this interview, and the rules of the game have changed. I think we need to take more steps for the health and safety
Exactly.
of the two.
Yep.
Well, if that covers the topic, then I think that what's left is to say thank you, and I'm very appreciative of what Fort Collins is doing, and it's a very strong program.
Well, thanks, Ranger. And if you have any questions, you got my number.
All right, that's true. Well, thanks, Steve. We've been speaking with Steve Varnell. He's the Senior Supervisor for Streets in Fort Collins, Colorado, and thanks again.
Thank you.